Okay, so just like we started with every stitch so far for hand sewing, we're gonna start with tacking it down. So just start at one of your ends. For me, it makes sense to go left to right, and I'm just gonna pick up a few stitches. Okay, I'm going right next to the fold, and I'm actually just going through the fold. I'm not gonna go through the garment just yet. If we were doing this for an actual garment, I would want to use matching thread so that you don't see it at all on the outside, but for the purpose of this so you guys can see it better, I'm gonna use red. So just like we always do, I'm gonna pull that through. Okay, leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm gonna go in the exact same spot 3 times, making sure I pull each thread tight. And this is called tacking it down, or it's called taking a stitch. It's said both ways, but this creates a knot without actually having to create a knot. Do that one more time. If there's any loops, make sure you pull them through. I'm gonna cut my tail off so it gets out of my way. Okay. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is right next to where I tacked it down, I'm going to pick up just like right next to the fold, but on the actual garment, right? If this was the pant leg, this side would be the actual bottom of your pants. So right next to the fold, I'm just going to pick up 2 or 3 really small, okay? And I'm basically going to be rinsing and repeating that all the way down. But what you'll notice is if I flip this over, you look really closely, you can see a little tiny red dot. Okay, that's the thread that just went through. You don't want to see a line. If you were to take your needle and go like too much across, say like that, what would end up happening on this side is you'd have a whole strand of thread of red, and that would not look good. Okay, so you're just taking a couple little fibers just like you do when you're tacking it down. After you do that, right next to where you started, okay, you're gonna go into the fold. Now I'm trying to do it so you guys can see it a little better, so I'm doing it with my left hand. Maybe I'll spin it around so I can do it with my right. Okay, and you're gonna go, so right next to where you were. So this will take a little bit of practice. I'll show you. So right now, my needle is just in the fold. It's not on the outside, okay? And you're going to go about 1/4 of an inch, and you're gonna come back out. It's always harder to start, and then once you get going, it gets a little easier. Okay, so I traveled about 1/4 of an inch from where I started, okay? But notice you don't see the thread on the inside, you don't see the thread on the outside because you're traveling through your fold. Okay, that's how we make it essentially invisible. Okay, and this is where the pins would actually hold this down, so you might want to put a couple pins in there. I'm going to take my needle again, just like I did before, right where I came out of the tube where I traveled, right next to it on the actual garment. I'm going to pick up, okay, about 2 threads, just like that. I'm going to pull this through. Okay, so again, if I looked on the outside, you would see a tiny red dot. If you used blue thread, you would not see it. Okay, it would be invisible. Then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to travel through my tube. Okay. So make sure you pull it tight. Go right back into your tube. Go about 1/4 of an inch. Come back out of your tube. Okay. Pull it tight. If this starts to come up on you, you can put pins in to hold it along the way or take it back to the iron and press it. But then after we travel again, you're just going to pick up right next to that fold, a couple little fibers, a couple little threads, pull it through, okay? And then you're just going to rinse and repeat that all the way down, checking that you only have those little dots on the outside. So then we travel again. Okay, take your time on this. Go about 1/4 of an inch, come back out, pull it through. If you get any loops, make sure you pull those guys through so it lays nice and even. And then you just keep going. Once you get all the way across to the end, then you just end it by tacking it down just like you started, and then you're finished. I'm gonna have you keep recording. You guys don't have to watch. I'll speed this up in the demo, but then that way at least we'll have the whole thing from start to finish. Can you see it okay in the camera? Is it
Yeah, I can see it.
It's hard when you're like showing it in the demo because you need your hands so much. You doing okay, Sophia?
Yeah, can you hold it when you're done?
Yeah.
Are you gonna hear my voice in this part?
No.
Okay. Should I just bring like swatches of my fabric tomorrow instead of like all of it?
Totally your call. Obviously you can store it here, but if you think you're gonna work on stuff at home.
I think I'm just gonna bring it because like one of my things, like I got like 7 yards.
That is a lot. What's that one for?
That was for the pants and like the blazer top because I was like stressed out.
I don't even want to know how much you spent.
I mean, for the amount of stuff that I got,
Did they give you a student discount?
I have no idea. I don't know. It was weird. That place is weird.
It is different. You do have more variety, but it is more of a warehouse, honestly.
Well, they're moving actually.
Wait, where?
So if you take like McCormick, I think that's what it is. Yeah. They're moving like instead of turning, it's on like Ridge or something, right?
I think you're right. I'm not sure.
So instead of like turning onto Ridge, it's like on McCormick and.
Is it gonna be a
something
bigger
else.
space?
Yeah, they're combining with their warehouse.
Oh.
So like a lot of the stuff was on sale that I
that's
got.
nice.
Like the knit that I got was on sale, the tulle and like the jersey, the blue jersey. The mesh and the silk wasn't.
Mm.
And like the mesh was like it was $69.99 a yard. It was ridiculously expensive.
And you bought that?
Well, I was with I only got 1 yard of it. And I was with my mom and I was like, Mom, like we cannot pay for this. And she's like, well, you would be spending like $100 on a dress anyway. And I was like,
Then we really gotta
guess.
make it good.
Yeah, but I was like, I mean, it was kind of in like the wedding dress section.
Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't have gone in that section in the first place.
Did you take pictures of like the actual fabric content so you know how to like wash it and stuff?
No.
It will probably be then like dry clean only.
Yeah, I wouldn't even wash it. I don't wash like half my
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't blame you either way. But yeah, this is what I've done with like a lot of my pajama pant demos is I just have it recorded and then maybe at the end I'll talk again about tacking it down.
Mhm. When did we do this on pajama pants? Like I know we didn't.
So we didn't do them.
I didn't.
Nobody did them on pajama pants. We just like so close to the fold.
But like what part of it?
We didn't slip stitch at the hem of the pants, so the bottom.
Oh.
But we
okay.
don't do any slip stitching in fashion 1.
Yeah.
This
that's
would
what
have
I
only
thought.
been fashion 2, but you got cut off. So this is like, I'll bring in a dress tomorrow that this is where you can like a lot of times if you have a lining in a garment, like you might slip stitch the waistband. It's all about the inside, honestly. It's not as like, so it's more detailed on the inside, but this is how you would hem, like actually my husband just got a suit for a wedding he has to stand up in, and they give it to you with like a raw hem so that it could be the perfect length.
Yeah.
So I will slip stitch the bottom of his pants versus having to take it to a tailor.
That's nice.
Yeah. So again, we've got like the little dots on the outside.
My patterns for like my the ones that I ordered, because the rest of it I'm just gonna use my make my own. Isn't gonna come for like a while though, so I'm kind of.
Is that the one you need to start on though, or?
No, I'm gonna start on like my one for the Parsons challenge that I have to bead, which that one like I'll make my own pattern, and I've made stuff like that before, so it won't be difficult.
Okay, I'm gonna talk through this part real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So once you get to the final travel in the tube, you're gonna come out and just by the edge of it, I'm gonna pick up one more time. I'm gonna pull that tight. And then right next to the fold, but I'm just gonna go through the inside hem, I'm not gonna go through the outside. I'm just gonna tack it down. So I'll pick up a couple of threads. I'm gonna pull that tight, and I'm gonna go through the same spot 3 times, and that will be, if you get a loopy guy, of course, gotta individually pull on your threads. There we go. And then one more time, pulling it tight, and then you will clip off. And so if we look at the outside, you should just see little tiny dots all the way across. I'll take this to the iron, press it one more time, and of course if this was an actual garment, you'd want to use matching thread, and you really shouldn't be able to see it. So we'll press it, and then we're all done.